Look on the cover, it said Mongolia, the land of no fences. And I love to quote that whenever I'm standing right here because all you can see is fences all around you. And the fence is really essential to Mongolian life. And the fence in Mongolian, they call it the hasha. And before that, all the land in Mongolia was public property. So nothing could be owned by an individual. And in 2001, what they said was every Mongolian has a right to 700 square meters of land. Okay, so for Americans, that's 35 yards by 20 yards, and that can be your fence. And you get it for free as long as you're a Mongolian citizen and you're over 16 years old. So the fence building went crazy so that everyone could get their 700 square meters. And if I put a bunch of rocks on the ground and mark out my place and I call the government and say this one's mine, they'll say, I can only give you permission once you put the fence in the ground because they don't want you to move the rocks. Okay? Now, usually a dog will come barking and telling you, get off my property. And there's usually a mean dog behind every fence, and that's your security system. The other reason to have a fence is if you're living on public property, you cannot dig a toilet. You don't want a toilet on public property. Anyone will use it. And if I don't have any coal or wood tonight, I'll start burning your toilet, okay? So that I don't freeze to death tonight. So you can't have a toilet without a fence. This family, I watched them for 6 years, 6 kids, no toilets. So that means the kids were just going anywhere. And volunteers, which Rinky-Dink Travel is the other thing that I haven't talked about yet, is a travel agency that I started about 3 years ago, mainly for my foster kids to have jobs. So tourists from Rinky-Dink Travel helped build the fence. So Rinky-Dink Travel is combining tourism with volunteer work. And that's why Intrepid Travel contacted me, and we have the volunteer English teachers. The fence is also, besides that you can have a toilet, besides that you can have land, besides that you're protected so your laundry that you hang out doesn't get stolen, or if it's really cold in the middle of winter and you put your meat on top of your gear so the dog doesn't eat it, and you don't have a refrigerator, it's frozen for 10 months out of the year anyway, your meat will get stolen if you don't have the fence, okay? The final thing that the fence is, it's a personal boundary, okay? If tomorrow's Thursday, the well station's going to be closed, and let's just say that Dan was out partying and drinking all day. He got a little crazy at the Rotary meeting, and he didn't go get his water. And Thursday comes along, and he doesn't have any water to wash his clothes, do his dishes, cook, and he comes to my gear. I don't have a fence. He just opens the door. Gears can be opened and aren't usually locked. You don't even have to knock. You knock on a fence. The rules are different for a fence than they are for a gear. And he comes in and he notices that I have a pretty, not a big water container, but maybe 25 liters of water. I have 5 kids, but I have 25 liters of water. And he says, Susan, give me some water. As a good American, I would say, Dan, you were drunk all day yesterday. Go get it yourself. The water station's over there. But Mongolians can't say that. Their hospitality can't say, if I have something, I need to give everything I have. Even though I have 5 kids and only 25 liters of water and I need it, if he sees that I have it and I don't give it to him, I'm being very, very mean, okay? And even if I turn him away, I'll feel guilty all day and for the next week. And he'll tell people, you won't believe her. I mean, she had water right there, and I asked her and she didn't give me any. Like, I'll be harumped and I'll be really greedy. Okay, and there'll be rumors that I didn't give what I had. So everything I have, if anyone asks me for it, I have to give it. So the fence keeps you from situations that you can't handle because of your own personal boundaries. Now, if Tuvsha is living in the middle of the countryside and she's riding her horse 200 kilometers to go buy flour for her family, and along the way she's hungry or she needs something and she stops at a gear. Just so happens no one's home, but the door's not locked. If she drinks a little water or eats a little bit and keeps going on her way, no one's going to consider her a thief or that she did something inappropriate. And they'll assume that they might do the same thing at her gear when they're going by. Now, of course, she's not going to take their television set and put it on her horse because that would be inconvenient for her. And I lived in a small town in Illinois, Pecatonica, where if someone stole something from me, I would see them with it like a week later. So theft wasn't an option because everyone would know that you stole. So here in the city, stealing is very common, but in the countryside it's not. But the rules of hospitality in the countryside don't apply to the city hospitality rules. So that's why the fence is such a part of their life. That's why they don't want you to see in it. That's why it's so high. They don't want you to see what they have. They don't want you to be tempted to steal their stuff.